Graham has requested me on Patreon to review Man of the Year, a political satire directed by Barry Levinson and starring Robin Williams. Released in 2006, it's about a television personality with no political experience who decides to run for President of the United States, says a bunch of wacky things during the campaign, and then somehow gets elected. There's also a conspiracy over whether this result was affected by voting machines. Where does Hollywood even come up with these far-fetched ideas? Although despite these interesting parallels to a certain presidential candidate, that's about where the comparisons end, as this is a movie that's somewhat tonally all over the place. The premise suggests it'll be a high-concept comedy, and yes, some of that is in there. Williams does some of his usual one-liners as Tom Dobbs, the host of a Daily Show-type program, although there's also a bit of humor gained from him spending the start of his campaign treating the election seriously, much to his fans' disappointment. However, the movie then changes course and becomes a dramatic conspiracy thriller with a lot of focus on Laura Linney's Eleanor as she tries to figure out what went wrong with the voting machines. It becomes more about her story than it does Dobbs, and the shift to darker territory does not mesh with the story involving Dobbs' campaign and election. Both of these storylines feel underdeveloped, and the satirical edge is not quite as strong as it could have been. Most people walking into this movie probably expected this film to be about what would happen if a comedian was elected President of the United States. That was the big selling point of the film, and not even a spoiler, as the trailer reveals he does win. So when he wins the election, it seems like the rest of the movie will involve him navigating his first term, the policies he enacts, and the funny remarks he makes while in office. It does not. It's instead more about this voting machine storyline and Dobbs feeling uneasy and uncertain about whether he's really the right person for this position, which is an interesting idea to explore, but also feels like a waste of this premise. The way Man of the Year tries to juggle a comedy, a conspiracy thriller, and a political drama all in one results in a film that is not particularly funny, exciting, or interesting. It's instead a bizarre mishmash of tones and a lot of points that don't say much of anything about the American political system and why people choose to elect the leaders they do. Although it's not even about that last point anyway. This is a spoiler for the movie, so warning to those who have some interest in seeing it. But it's revealed that Dobbs wins because of some error with the voting machines, not because most people voted for him or because he somehow managed to win the Electoral College. I think if you're going to be a political satire, you need to take sharp aim at multiple parties. But Man of the Year does not really take aim at anyone, outside of maybe a few remarks by Dobbs about the Democratic and Republican candidates and their possible influence from lobbyists. And even those are pretty soft. There is a part of the movie I really liked, which is near the end when Dobbs appears on the Weekend Update segment on Saturday Night Live and gives a speech about the role of entertainers in politics, and that he feels his place is on the outside making fun of the establishment rather than being a part of it. That idea of people wanting politics to be a form of entertainment is the subject of a lot of feelings about, as it does feel like many vote for politicians not based on their policies, but instead vibes. So much entertainment coverage is based around whether they have charisma and entertainment value, when those should not be the reasons you vote for someone. I think the fairest selection would be one where voters just look through a list of the candidates' policies, count how many they agree with, and then that's their pick. Instead, people complain that the candidate is boring, or in the complete opposite direction, praise that they tell it like it is. We see throughout history voters who are swayed by speeches on the podium and being won over by these large declarations. But as a result, they don't pay attention to their policies, even in cases when they flat out tell you. Frankly, politics should be boring. I don't want to see the President of the United States, or the Prime Minister of Canada, or any other world leader unless it's absolutely necessary. Sorry for the sudden political commentary, which is not something I often go into on my channel, but I guess it's unavoidable when discussing a political satire. So I appreciated the film's message about separating politicians and entertainers, but it comes so late into the movie. I actually found the film a bit of a dull sit through its almost 2 hours, and while it seemed like Barry Levinson had a lot on his mind about the American political system, the tonal shifts and sudden turn into conspiracy thriller territory made for an uneven watch. Even Robin Williams can only do so much with the occasionally funny one-liners he says. Now, if you've seen Man of the Year, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for the request, Graham.